Hey guys, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you guys today. Before we get started with today's video, please make sure to drop a like down below. It definitely helps the channel out a lot and makes a massive difference. Also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to receive more Dallas Cowboys content from yours truly now and in the future. And finally, hit that notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. Now, for this season of football, just schedule-wise and what you guys might be looking forward to, I just kind of had to do a bit of maneuvering and just, making sure I had the time for it. This is what you're probably going to be seeing. You're going to see a pregame from me, then we'll do the Lone Star Show pregame show with 1980, Dallas Cowboy fan 1980 if you don't know who I'm talking about. Then the game will happen, and then on either the day or the hour after, definitely after the game, if time permits, or the day after, we will do the Lone Star Show post-game show. And then I'll do my post-game analysis on my own. So that's about, 4 bits of content a week for you guys. If you guys enjoy that, let me know. If you want me to do anything else, feel free to put that down in the comment section. I know you guys want me to talk about this whole matchup, but I wanted to talk about that first so you guys can expect what's going to happen this season. So, Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta Falcons. Both teams have interesting stakes. Both teams, while they're 1-0-1, they're both in divisions that their teams don't have. Only one team has a win in both of these divisions. We know the Washington football team has a win in ours, and the New Orleans Saints has a win in the South, the NFC South. Now, if I'm being completely honest, the Dallas Cowboys have a little bit more leeway with the division we're in as opposed to Atlanta. I think Atlanta needs this game more than the Cowboys do. I'm not excusing if the Cowboys drop another game. Absolutely not. That's bad. But I just want to provide some context for what the Cowboys are looking at. Now, a couple nuggets of information before we get to the injury report. Let's start with the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, interestingly enough, when it comes to the Falcons are the only team Dak has played multiple times and has yet to throw a passing touchdown against. I do think that will change this week. I fully believe that. And I just think he's due for that. I mean, he's 1-1 against the Falcons, so there really isn't really a solid track record there when you only play the team twice. An interesting fact with Ezekiel Elliott, or before we get to that, Dak Prescott, 12-4 at home since 2018. So the Cowboys have definitely started becoming more of a dominant home team. In years past, it used to be the opposite. The Cowboys would do well on the road as opposed to doing well at home. And now that's flipped again, so there's that. But Ezekiel Elliott, he's started off the season pretty well, and I think he's going to continue that. I really do. Interesting note, he's actually averaged at this point 125.5 yards per game, career scrimmage yards. That's the most in the Super Bowl era for any running back with a minimum of 50 games played. So Ezekiel Elliott averaging 125.5 career scrimmage yards per game. That is amazing. Definitely shows his worth. Moving over to the Falcons, a couple bits of information. Interesting fact. Did you know that Matt Ryan has not won a road game in September or October since week 8 of 2017? He's 0-6 in that span of time. That's not an indicator that he will lose this game, but still. This is an interesting fact. And also Julio Jones. He's averaged 117 career receiving yards per game versus the Cowboys. That is the second most in the Super Bowl era with a minimum 4 games played versus a specific team. So yeah, Julio Jones is going to be a problem. I mean, a lot of these weapons will be a problem. But I just want to be clear. I understand that people are looking what happened with Seattle and the Falcons, and people are looking at the Atlanta Falcons and like, yo, they had 3 100-yard receivers. They're going to be a problem. Now, I have a couple points to really contort with that because, that's that when it comes, and we've learned from this. Allow me to explain. The Seahawks were up at one point, what was it, like 28-11 at some point. I mean, they put 38 points up on the board, and Atlanta was playing catch up. The game was already out at hand, and keep in mind, I was seeing snippets of this game because Atlanta was, trying to come back, and they were getting some highlights here and there. The fact of the matter is Atlanta, Matt Ryan throwing for 450 yards, a lot of that was garbage time yardage. I know a lot of people are like, well, Dak had a lot of garbage time. Listen, 450 yards is impressive if you're winning. But you have to be efficient with it. Usually if you have a high set of yardage, odds are you're trying to play catch up, or depending on how the game goes. He had 2 touchdowns and an interception in that game. Running, when it comes to running the ball, Atlanta didn't really do so well. They had 21 rushes for 72 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. Todd Gurley had 56 yards for. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen against us. I do think that they might pose I think that they'll be able to maybe do a bit better. But again, it depends on what this defense does and how it adjusts. And looking at these receiving yards, Julio Jones, 9 receptions, 157 yards. Calvin Ridley, 9 receptions, 130 yards. And Russell Gage, 9 receptions, 114. Now, this is what we're probably expecting from the Cowboys when it comes to our trio of receivers. But I do want to be emphatically clear. If we're not winning games, those stats are meaningless. And we know that. We're aware of that. And you look at the Seahawks. The Seahawks only ran the ball for 84 yards. Russell Wilson was their leading rusher. Okay, so the weakness of Atlanta, and based off of me watching that game, it's their pass secondary. I do believe the Cowboys need to open up the pass early and often and get the ball downfield and put points up on the board. That's how Seattle won this game in week 1 against Atlanta. Putting up a ton of points early on and forcing Atlanta to play catch up and making key stops to make sure they didn't catch up. Looking at it, the stats, Russell Wilson, he didn't need to throw for 500 yards. He threw an effective 31 for 35, 322, 4 touchdowns, and he only got sacked 3 times. Matt Ryan only got sacked twice. And again, I do believe we need to do more than that. But with all that being said, we need to talk about this injury report because this is going to probably be a problem. First things first, good news. Jordan Lewis is probably going to be back for this game. He was a full participant in practices on Wednesday and Thursday. And so he looks like he's recovered from that ankle injury, and he should be good to go for this game. However, we have 3 more injuries that popped up. 2 of which shouldn't be an issue, but 1 is a massive issue. Amari Cooper popped up on the injury report with his foot/ankle. He was limited in practice on Thursday, which was of this recording today. So I think he'll be fine. I think we'll get through. But again, people need to realize having a plantar fasciitis, it's something that lingers through you for a while and pretty much your whole life. It's just a matter of how well you can manage it. And I had someone mention this in one of the comment sections, is like, usually it acts up when you're trying to plant your feet on grass, and that's based off of like just hearing from other people, like people I work with that actually do have it and stuff like that. That's a thing. So it's definitely going to bother him for the rest of his career until like he stops playing. But I think he'll be fine at home. Aldon Smith, he didn't practice today because of something going on with his tooth, but he should be fine, ready to go for the game. But the biggest concern, Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith, something's up with his neck. And he didn't practice, and there is a possibility he might not be a go for this game versus Atlanta. Now, if that is the case, we got to be extremely careful because we need to be able to get the ball out quickly. We need to be able to the offensive line had its moments. It allowed Dak to, make a couple throws here and there, but we weren't able to go deep. And I'll get into those keys of victory to close out this video because I've gone on for long enough. But offensive line looks solid based off of I said it didn't play well. It was the weak link on Sunday against the Rams. I agree with that still. But I do think that if this line can hold up just decently and allow Dak to do his job, which it was able to do in some instances obviously not, I think we'll be fine. I mean, there were some running lanes open for Zeke, and Zeke was doing his thing. But, okay. Enough of me yapping for 10 minutes about the prelude to this game. What do the Cowboys got to do to win this game? So, off the top of my head, number 1, let's start with the offense. I think the Cowboys need to open this thing up. Like, they need to pass. They need to take what Seattle did last week again, or whatever last week we'll say, against the Falcons, and use it in this game. Open up the passing game. Let Dak Prescott do his thing, if that is the formula. However, I will say this: if Ezekiel Elliott is tearing up Atlanta's defense, and he's doing his thing, go with him. You got to go with what works. But me personally, I think based off of what we're seeing and some just statistical analysis, as well as just based off of what happened in that game, open up the passing games for, go deep, set up deep passing routes, do what you got to do, get the ball downfield, get this ball in the air, put points up on the board early, and Atlanta will panic and flail. So that's the big one for me. Number 2, let's stick with the running game. If you're going to use Zeke, yes, he was effective in some first down runs. And I'm not saying the Cowboys have to pass it on first down every single time, even though statistically speaking, you're supposed to do it. But based off of how we're looking at it, it looks like the Cowboys they'll be passing the ball more on first down often than not. Now, if you're going to run with Zeke, you need to do it in more creative ways. Running him up the gut is fine in some instances, but you got to be able to get him out in space. Give him something where he's running to the outside. Do pitch plays. Do this with Tony, by the way, as well. We need to be more creative when it comes to our running attack. We can't be just doing this run up the middle crap. We need to be able to get him on the outside and do his thing if the threat presents itself. If ultimately you're chewing him up from the inside, that's what you got to do. But we got to do better than that. And just get Zeke more involved in the passing game. And, but yes, he was involved last week. Just got to do what we got to do. Offensive line's got to play better. I'm not saying it has to be like literally everyone's playing like an all-pro, but get Dak time. He got hurt. He got hit 7 times in the Rams game. That can't happen. People were complaining, why don't we go deep? There were times where I felt Dak was trying to get the ball downfield, but he didn't get the time to do it. So, if we can give Dak time, use the play action. That's another thing. We were doing that here and there, but we have to be, and I saw some creativity in the passing game. I'm not going to be fully negative there. There were some moments where I'm like, okay, I like that. Okay, I like this. I didn't like that. But that's another key. We need to get this offensive line playing better. So I think that's offensively speaking, that's my keys there. Defensively speaking, you got to stop you have to stop the run, but more importantly, get the ball out of Matt Ryan's hands. Make the Falcons force themselves to put the ball on the ground. Now, why do I say this? Because Atlanta's rushing attack has not been the greatest over the past couple years. Especially evident. Yes, they have Todd Gurley, who was really damn good, but that arthritis really has hampered him. Now, even if Todd Gurley has 100 yards rushing, how he gets those 100 yards and how he gets it is really determining that. If he's getting like 25 carries and he's not really averaging a ton of yardage, okay. But again, the thing is you don't want Matt Ryan to really get himself in a groove. As I mentioned earlier, I can't speak. Julio Jones, okay? Julio Jones typically has really damn good games versus the Cowboys, statistically speaking. And this passing game will probably give us fits, but I have confidence that this secondary will step up. Yes, I understand that LVE is out, but you got to understand that ultimately we need to be able to send blitzes earlier rather than wait till third down. We need to be able to adjust on the fly. And I think the Cowboys will have a much better time versus Dan Quinn than they did against Sean McVay. Another thing, when it comes to this whole thing, do not let the Falcons jump up on you early. I do believe the Cowboys, if they play with the lead, are pretty hard to stop because they could just churn out yardage with Zeke. They can continue to put points on the board if things go well. So, with that in mind, the Cowboys cannot afford Atlanta to jump up early. Give them the ball first. If you win the toss, elect to defer. Get them the ball first. If you can stop them on the first drive, even if it's not a 3 and out, even if you can stop them from scoring points on the first drive, get on the board with your other opening, with your opening drive on offense. Get on the board and put them in a position to where they have to score points. ultimately, I do think that this might end up be a game where a lot of points are scored. I think it might be something like 31-28. It can be a 38-35 game. I don't know. But when I say that and they say, oh, it's going to be an offensive shootout, it tends not to be. Ultimately, do what you got to do to win this game. Mike McCarthy, I think I have confidence that he is going to get this thing right. I mean, if we go down 0-2 this start the season, we need to evaluate what caused us to get this. So we got to see what would happen in this game to reach us there. If it's just players aren't doing their thing, it's because of coaching decisions, we'll find that out. But I think I've gone on for long enough. What do you guys have to say about this game? What are your predictions for the games? Do you got any bold predictions? I guess I'll do a bold prediction for two things, offensively and defensively. Offensively, I do believe Dak Prescott will throw for 3 touchdowns, and I think defensively speaking, I do believe Trevon Diggs gets his first interception this week. I think that's a pretty fair prediction. I don't know. I could be wrong. I was right last week with picking Aldon Smith to get the first sack, so who knows? So I think I've gone on for long enough. If you guys enjoyed this content, please make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Tomorrow, we will be doing the Lone Star Show with Dallas Cowboy Fan 1980, if the schedule permits. It should be around the same time like last time, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. I'll make sure to put the notification in the stream up so where you can see it when it's all good to go. But yeah, hope to see you guys there. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.